कैसे हो मेरे भाई लोग? एक लाइक ओनली, एक लाइक। एक तो मेरी वीडियो स्टक क्यों कर रही है? कितने लोग आए हैं? एक सेकेंड गाइस, एक सेकेंड, थोड़ी देर में आया। मेरा कोई दोस्त आया है अभी तक? कोई नहीं आया, सब सो गए। ओ बल्ले बल्ले, शाबाश शाबाश। स्क्रीन डार्क, चिंता मत करो, चिंता मत करो। शिट यार, तुम्हारे चक्कर में अपन मर गया। चलो लेट्स स्टार्ट। नंबर 2 पे ख़त्म किया हमने। एक्चुअली एक मैच फंस गया था यार। लेट्स स्टार्ट। सस्पिशियस। माथा इतना चमक क्यों रहा है पता नहीं, आई डोंट नो, बट माथा कुछ ज़्यादा ही चमक रहा है। तो हम लोग कहाँ थे? नींद तो नहीं आ रही किसी को? मच्छर यार, पता नहीं, पता है मेरे घर के मच्छर बहुत मोटे हो गए हैं खा खा के मुझे। OMG, कौन है हमारे अमन जी? कहाँ गए? अभी लाएंगे आपके अमन जी को वापस? अरे राम, ये क्या कर दिया मैंने अपने साथ? इतना गंदा फिल्टर क्या लगा दिया मैंने? क्या लगा रहा था, क्या लग गया? स्ट्रीम डिलीट करनी पड़ेगी क्या? OMG, ये कौन है हमारे अमन जी? अच्छा दिख रहे हैं लेकिन बस पहचान में नहीं आ रहे। ओके, हाँ। स्ट्रीम की शुरुआत गिटार से की जाएगा। मॉनिल सो गया लग रहा है। गलती से लग गया यार वो। फर्स्ट थॉट आफ्टर सीइंग दैट फिल्टर, गांधी जी। दूसरा तो सब जानते होंगे। डायबिटीज होने दो, हमें नहीं चाहिए। एक सेकेंड, लेट मी, वेयर इज माई सिंग, सिंक आ गए मेरे। अरे आज हेलो मैंने भी नहीं बोला, बाय द हेलो एवरीवन। आज आते ही तुम लोगों ने मीठा 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 कर दिया, तो कहाँ से हाई की याद रहेगी। Let's start. These quotations will illustrate the confusion that has been dominant for many years in the house of the world investment and speculation. Think of our suggested definitions of investment given above. The compare it with the sale of a few shares of stocks by an inexperienced member of the public who does not even own what he is selling, and some largely emotional conviction that he will be able to buy them back at a much lower price. It is not irrelevant to point out when the 1962 article appeared, the market had already experienced a decline of a major size. मतलब जब 1962 में एक आर्टिकल जब आया था उससे पहले ही थोड़ा सा मतलब मार्केट डाउन साइज चल रहा था, मेजर डाउन साइज चल रहा था, and was now getting ready for an even greater upswing. It was about as poor a time as possible for selling short. In a more general sense, the later used phrase reckless investor could be regarded as a laughable contradiction in terms. Something like spendthrift, thrift, misers. Were this misuse of language not so mischievous, the newspaper employed the word investor in these instances because, in the easy language of Wall Street, everyone who buys or sells a security has become an investor, regardless of what he buys, for what purpose, or at what price, or whether for cash or on margin. Compare this with attitude of public towards common stock in 1948. एक सेकंड, स्पेक्स के ऊपर कुछ लगा हुआ है। Compare with this with the attitude of public towards common stock in 1948, when over 90% of those queried expressed themselves as opposed purchase of common stocks. About half gave their reason not safe a gamble. उस टाइम पे बोला गया कि इसको मत खरीदो, इट्स अ गैम्बल, एंड अबाउट हाफ ऑफ द रीज़न नॉट फेमिलियर विद। कुछ लोग उनके बारे में खिलाफ बोल रहे थे और कुछ लोग उसके बारे में कुछ पता ही नहीं था। It is indeed ironical. The survey Graham series, ये फिल्टर में लिप्स ऐसे दिख रहे हैं जैसे पान खा के आए हो अभी लौट। सही कह रहा है, देखा ही नहीं ये चीज़। नींद काहे आ रही है इतनी हमें। नारुतो-kun, blur background। मेरे पीछे का बैकग्राउंड ब्लर हो गया। एक और फिल्टर था जो मुझे लगाना था। अरे भाई साहब मेरी आँखें। ओ तेरी सास्के, नाइस फिल्टर। तेरी क्या हो गया? और कौन है यहाँ पे हमारे साथ जो जुड़ा हुआ है? मेरी स्क्रीन पे अभी तक लेट ही चल रहा है क्या? एक सेकेंड, एक सेकेंड। लेट मी चेक कौन सा फिल्टर लगाऊं। हेलो, नारुतो का फिल्टर। ककाशी। ये तो गंदा सा फिल्टर होगा। नारुतो चश्मा नहीं पहनता था। I am a member of Leaf Village. और तो कितना डरावना लग रहा है। हाँ, शेरॉक लॉन्जुत्सु। इतनी मेहनत करनी पड़ रही है इस बेचारे 3D एनिमेशन को। बाय बाय बाय। देखिए होगी, हटाओ इसे। चलो लेट्स स्टार्ट। It is indeed ironical. Suppose a man decided not to spend his money. He can either put it in a bank or bond, or he can invest it. What do you think would be the wisest thing for him to do with the money nowadays? Put it in a bank, buy saving bonds with it, invest in a real estate, or buy common stock with it. Only 4% common stock would offer a satisfactory return. 26% consider it not safe or a gamble. From 1949 through 1958, the stock market earned one of the highest 10 years return in history. स्टॉक मार्केट अर्न 10-year रिटर्न्स, मतलब 10 साल के रिटर्न्स। वन ऑफ द हाईएस्ट रिटर्न दिए 10 साल में। नारुतो मैट दिखाओ, दिल में कुछ कुछ होता है नारुतो में। क्या? Though not surprising that common stock purchases all kinds of very quiet, generally regarded as highly speculative or risky at a time when they were selling on a most attractive basis, and due to soon to begin their greatest advance in history. Conversely, the very fact that they had advanced to what were undoubtedly dangerous levels as judged by past experience later transformed them into investments and the entire stock buying public into investors. The distinctions between investment and speculation in common stocks has always been a useful one, and its disappearance is a cause of concern. We have often said that Wall Street as an institution would be well advised and reinitiate this distinction and to emphasize it in all its dealing with the public. Otherwise, the stock exchanges may someday be blamed for speculative losses. एक सेकेंड, let me check something. नारुतो अपन का क्रश है ना, उसको कहीं भी देख लूँ बटरफ्लाई चालू पेट में। हाँ, आ भी सकता है। नारुतो से सुननी है क्या स्टोरी? द स्टोरी ऑफ द डस्टी निंजा। कितने गंदे फिल्टर बनाया नारुतो में। मैं इताची। इसमें मैं अगर अपना मुंह खोलूँगा तो मैं वो बन जाऊँगा कैरेक्टर जो मुझे चाहिए। पेन बेकार है। शारिंगन, हेज नारुतो। दो लोग हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं, पता नहीं कौन, पर धन्यवाद जुड़ने के लिए। अमेत्रासु, अमेत्रासु। आगे बढ़ते हैं। And due soon to begin their greatest advance in history. Conversely, the very fact they had advanced to what were undoubtedly dangerous levels as judged by past experience later transformed them into investments and the entire stock buying public into investors. The distinction between investment and speculation in a common stocks has always been a useful one of its disappearance in stock cause for concern. We have often said the Wall Street as institution would be the well advised and reinitiated this distinction that to emphasize in all the dealings with the public, otherwise the stock exchange may someday be blamed for heavy speculative losses which those who suffered them had not been properly warned against. Ironically, once more, much of the recent financial embarrass against ironically once more most of the recent financial embarrassment of some stock exchange firms seems to have come from the inclusion of the speculative common stocks in their own capital funds. We trust that the reader of this book will gain reasonable clear idea of the risk. वो कह रहे हैं कि जो रीडर है इस बुक का उसको क्लियर आइडिया हो जाएगा रिस्क का, दैट आर इनहेरेंट इन कॉमन स्टॉक्स एंड कमिटमेंट्स, रिस्क which are inseparable from the opportunities of profit that they offer, the both of which must be allowed for in the investor's calculation. तो रिस्क भी होता है, चांसेस प्रॉफिट के भी होते हैं, रिस्क भी होता है। तो हमेशा याद रखना कॉमन स्टॉक्स जो आप लोगे उनमें रिस्क होता है, ऐसा नहीं कि किसी चीज़ में रिस्क नहीं है। अरे यार ये स्ट्रगल कर रहा है फिल्टर, ये फिल्टर तो मेरी तरह स्ट्रगल कर रहा है भाई। What we have just said indicates that there may no longer be such a thing as Simon pure investment policy comprising representative common stocks in the sense that one can always wait to buy them at a price that involves no risk of a market or quotational. अब क्या कह रहे हैं कि आपको उस प्राइस पे उस स्टॉक को खरीदना है, उस प्राइस कोनिचिवा नारुतो-कुन। तो मैं आपको बता दूं कि एक्चुअली वो ये कह रहे हैं कि आपको ऐसे प्राइस पे वो स्टॉक खरीदना है जिस प्राइस पे आपको नुकसान ना हो. Wait, buy them at a price that involves no risk of a market or quotational loss large enough to be disquieting. In most periods, investor must recognize the existence of the speculative factor in his common stock holding. It is his task to keep component within minor limits and to be prepared financially and psychologically for adverse results that may be short or long duration. तो कुछ भी हो सकता है. देखो वो कह रहे हैं कि आपको माइनर लिमिट्स मतलब जो स्टॉक पे आप पैसा लगा रहे हो उसमें आपको शॉर्ट टर्म और लॉन्ग ड्यूरेशन में भी नुकसान हो सकता है. एडवर्स इफेक्ट झेलने की क्षमता रखते हो तभी स्टॉक में पैसा लगाना. Two paragraphs should be added about stock speculation as distinguished from speculative component now inherent. Averaging 18.7% annually in a fascinating echo of that early Fed survey, a poll conducted by Business Week at year end 2002 found that 24% of the investors were willing to invest more in their mutual funds of or stock portfolios, down from 47 just 3 years earlier. अब क्या हो गया था कि अब लोग 24% ज़्यादा लगा रहे थे. पहले 3 साल में 47% लगाए थे. In most representative common stocks, outright speculation is neither illegal, moral, nor the most people fattening to pocketbook. More than that, some speculation is necessary and unavoidable. For in many common stock situations, there are substantial possibilities of both profit and loss, and risk therein must be assumed by someone. There is intelligent speculation as there is intelligent investing. But there are many ways in which speculations may be unintelligent. Of these, foremost are speculating when you think you are investing, speculating seriously instead of pastime when you lack proper knowledge and skill for it, risking more money in speculation than you can afford to lose. अब क्या होता है कि जब आपके पास नॉलेज कम होती है ना तब आप ज़्यादा पैसा स्पेकुलेशन लगा के आप उसे खो देते हो. ठीक है. 1, स्पेकुलेटिंग व्हेन यू थिंक यू आर इन्वेस्टिंग. स्पेकुलेटिंग आपको तब करना चाहिए जब आपको पता हो कि आप इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हो. रासिंगन टू रासिंगन. आई लव नारुतो, आई लव रासिंगन. ठीक है. अब इन्वेस्टमेंट क्या होता है जो आप अपने फ्यूचर पे करते हो, करियर पे, है ना. वैसे ही स्पेकुलेशन क्या होता है जब आप स्टॉक्स में इन्वेस्ट करते हो विद अ लॉट ऑफ रिस्क, जब रिस्क के साथ करते हो. ठीक है. स्पेकुलेटिंग व्हेन यू थिंक यू आर इन्वेस्टिंग, स्पेकुलेटिंग सीरियसली इंस्टेड ऑफ एज अ पास टाइम. ठीक है. ऐसे नहीं कि हाँ चलो ये ख़रीद ले क्या पता बढ़ जाए, ऐसे नहीं बाय करना है. व्हेन यू लैक प्रॉपर नॉलेज एंड स्किल फॉर इट एंड रिस्किंग मोर मनी इन स्पेकुलेशन देन यू कैन अफोर्ड टू लूज. जब आपके पास प्रॉपर नॉलेज नहीं है, ज्ञान नहीं है, उसके बाद आप पैसा लगा रहे हो तो ज़रूर आप पैसा हारोगे. ये लिख कर ले लो दोस्तों. इन अ कंजर्वेटिव व्यूज़, एवरी नॉन प्रोफेशनल हु ऑपरेट्स ऑन margin should recognize that he is ipso facto speculating, and in his broker's duty to do so advise him that everyone who buys a so-called hot common stock issue or makes a purchase in any way similar thereto is either speculating or gambling. Speculation is always fascinating and can be a lot of fun while you are ahead of the game. If you want to try your luck at it, put aside a portion, the smaller the better, of your capital in a separate fund for this purpose. Never add money to this account just because. ठीक है. के लिए if you want to try your luck at it, put aside a portion, the smaller and the better, of your capital in a separate fund for this purpose. Never add more money to this account just because the. अब ये वाला पढ़ते हैं. स्पेकुलेशन इज़ बेनिफिशियल ऑन 2 लेवल्स. स्पेकुलेशन जब आप किसी स्टॉक में इन्वेस्ट करते हो बट रिस्क लेकर. फर्स्ट, विदाउट स्पेकुलेशन अनटेस्टेड न्यू कंपनीज Amazon.com or either in earlier times, the Edison Electric Light Co. would never be able to raise necessary capital for the expansion, the alluring long shot chance of the huge gain in the grease and that lubricates the machine of innovation. Secondly, risk is exchanged but never eliminate every time of stock in bought or sold. The buyer purchases the primary risk that this stock may go down. Meanwhile, the seller still retains a residual risk. The chance of the stock he just sold may go up. A margin account enables you to buy stock using money you borrow from the brokerage firm. By investing with borrowed money, you make more when you stock go up, but can be wiped out when they go down. The collateral for the loan is the value of investment in your account, so you must put up more if the value falls below the amount you borrowed. For more information about margin accounts, see this site. Big fan of पर विशेष गैम्बलिंग से तो सुनाडे याद आती है बिल्कुल सुना दे समा बिग फैन ऑफ पर विशेष द गस्टी निंजा मार्केट हैज़ गॉन अप एंड प्रॉफिट्स आर रोलिंग इन जब मार्केट ऊपर जाता है तो प्रॉफिट्स आते हैं दैट्स द टाइम टू थिंक of taking money out of your speculative fund. Never mingle your speculative and investment operation in the same account, nor in any part of your thinking. अरे वाह वो कह रहा है कि कभी भी अपने इन्वेस्टमेंट और कभी भी अपना जो ट्रेडिंग वाला पार्ट है वो एक साथ मत रखना वरना सब बेच दोगे ठीक है नेवर मिंगल योर स्पेक्यूलेटिव एंड इन्वेस्टमेंट ऑपरेशन इन द सेम अकाउंट नॉर इन एनी पार्ट ऑफ योर थिंकिंग result to be expected by the defensive investor. We have already defined the defensive investors as one interested chiefly in safety plus freedom from brother. In general, what course should he follow and what return can he expect under average normal conditions? If such conditions really exist, to answer these questions, we shall consider first what we wrote on the subject 7 years ago. Next, what significant changes have occurred since then in the underlying factors governing the investor expectable return, and finally what he should do and what he should expect under present day earlier 1972 condition. भाई मेरे घर के बाहर ना बहुत हवा चल रही है धड़ा धड़ा विंडो बजाया जा रहा है कोई ना कोई दिस नारुतो फिल्टर लुक हैंडसम थैंक यू फिल्टर लगाया किसने है what we said 6 years ago we recommended that the investor divide his holding between high grade bonds and leading common stocks that the portion held in bonds be never less than 25% or more than 75% with the converse being necessarily true for the common stock component that his simplest choice would be to maintain a 50-50 proportion between the two, with the adjustment of the restore the equality when market developments had disturbed it by as much as say 5%. As an alternative policy, he might choose to reduce his common stock component 25% if he felt the market was dangerously high and conversely to advance it towards the maximum 75% if he felt that a decline in the stock price was making them increasingly attractive. अब क्या होता है कि आपको कभी भी पैसा नहीं डालना जब वो हाई पे हो फिल्टर लगाया किसने है अपने चेहरे पे In 1965, the investor could obtain about 4.5% on the high-grade taxable bonds and 3.1/4% on good tax-free bonds. The dividend return on the leading common stock, GIA, at 892 was only about 3.2 This fact and the other suggested caution. We imply that at normal level of the market, the investor should be able to obtain an initial dividend return of between 3.5% and 4.5% on his stock purchase, to which should be added a steady increase in underlying value. And in the normal market price, a representative stock of about the same amount, giving a return from dividends and appreciation combined of about 7.5 per year. The half and half division between bonds and stocks components should carry a fair degree of protection against the loss of purchase power caused by the large scale inflation. It should be pointed out that the above arithmetic indicates expectations of a much lower rate of advance. अरे आज हार्ट अटैक आके रहेगा क्यों क्या हुआ तो मेरा हाथ है क्या हाय मॉल कंटालिया भाई कैसे हो वेलकम बैक टू द चैनल पढ़ाई का क्या हुआ अभी In 1965 the investor could obtain about 1.4% of high gradable bonds and 3 by 1/4% of good tax-free bonds. The dividend on the leading stocks with the DJIA at 892 was the only about 3.2%. This fact other suggested caution. We implied that at normal levels of the market, the investor should be able to obtain the initial dividend return of the between 3.5% and 4.5% of his stock, an initial dividend return of between 3.5 and 4.5 of his stock purchases, to which should be added a steady increase in the underlying value and representative and in the normal market price. Stock list of about the same amount, giving a return from dividends and appreciation combined of 7.5% per year. The half and the half division between bonds and stocks would yield about 6% before income tax. We added the stock component should carry a fair degree of protection against a loss of purchasing power caused by this large scale inflammations. Comedy queen, I am back. I am pretty. क्लाउन वाला मैकडॉनल्ड्स से भाग के आया है आगे बढ़ते हैं आज नींद आ रही है मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा It should be pointed out that the above arithmetic indicated expectation of much lower rate of advance in the stock market that had been realized between 1949 and 1964. The rate had averaged good deals better than 10% for listed stock as a whole, and its satisfactory result could be counted on his future. Few people of advance in the past means that stock prices are now too high, and hence that wonderful since 1945-49 would imply not very good but good results for the future. What has happened since 1964? The major change since 1964 has been the rise in the interest rate on first grade bonds to record high levels, although there has since been a considerable recovery from the lowest price of 1970. Imagine if Naruto existed in real life and he looked like this filter. It can be real in here. दिल के अंदर real है वो. In the meantime, the dividend return DGIA type stocks had a fair advance and also dumping the marketplace, and then 3.5 invest against 3.2 at the end of 1964. The change in going interest rate produced a maximum decline about 38% in the market of medium says 20 years bonds during this. गाइस नींद आ रही है क्या, सो जाए क्या? अपन को आ रही है बहुत भयंकर नींद, नारुतो को आ रही है नींद। नारुतो को नींद आ रही है, किस बात का सबर? हेलो मोहन भाई, कैसी चल रही पढ़ाई, तैयारी जीत की? तैयारी जीत की कैसी चल रही है? आज हमने की 1900 स्टेयर्स। चलो गाइस, थैंक्स अ लॉट फॉर ज्वाइनिंग दिस स्ट्रीम। बहुत भयंकर नींद आ रही है। बाय बाय, थैंक यू, टेक केयर।